What this man encountered was deeply unsettling. The creatures featured in today's episode are among the most vile, shocking, and unbelievable monsters ever encountered. Winged entities, twisted hybrids, and encounters with disturbing humanoid figures that left everyone stunned. A security camera recorded a mythical creature attempting to hunt the rabbits. This incident occurred only 3 miles from Mumford, which we mentioned earlier, in Turners, Missouri. It had an elongated snout, glowing predatory eyes, and was clearly intent on feeding on the animals. Unfortunately for it, the owner had recently purchased a German Shepherd after hearing about what had been captured in Springfield just 3 weeks earlier, and they had installed cameras as well. The dog defended the rabbits from the creature and eventually drove it away. Goblin drinking. A disturbing video shows what appears to be a goblin drinking water from a pond in Hadramaut, in the southern Arabian Peninsula. Filmed on an unknown date, a local noticed a strange figure hidden behind the grass. After spotting its skin, he cautiously moved closer, only to be stunned by what stood before him. Its skin color looked normal, but the complete lack of hair was unsettling. The figure was far too thin and unnaturally twisted to be human. There was little doubt it was a goblin, as it slowly drank from a filthy, toxic-looking pond. It even had a long white goatee. Suddenly, it turned toward the person filming, clearly aware of his presence. Its features were horrifying. A visible nose, a skull-like head with skin stretched tightly over bone, deep-set eyes sunk into their sockets, and a long, protruding chin with pointed ears. Terrified, the cameraman panicked and ran away. No other footage of this creature has ever been recorded. Fish humanoid. Because of the video's poor quality and awkward framing, it's hard to determine exactly where this terrifying creature was filmed. It appeared drenched and slick, with green, frog-like skin, yet its head looked disturbingly reptilian. The longer people examined it, the worse it became. It had webbed hands, solid black eyes without any visible whites, and a strange flap of skin running from its elbows all the way down its back. There was no doubt this was a fish-like humanoid monster. The most likely location appears to be a pond or a dark, murky river. Twisted creature. A bizarre video circulating online revealed a hunched, goblin-like figure near the edge of a cliff. It appeared to be rummaging through the rocks, moving silently but in an unsettling way. Its appearance closely matched ancient folklore descriptions of goblins: small, twisted, and deeply eerie. As the footage played, viewers were left wondering what it was searching for and where it had come from. Aerial creature. A trail camera in the Appalachian Mountains captured a creature that's difficult to believe could even exist. It was drinking water, but its appearance was deeply unsettling. Its mouth resembled a beak. Its eyes were glowing, and its ears were short yet sharply pointed. The head clearly didn't belong to any land animal, yet the body did, which made it even stranger. It had long, humanoid limbs with hands and feet far too large to be human. This was obviously not a costume. The texture of the skin and the details were far too precise and defined. There was hair only on the back of its head and along its neck, while the rest of the body appeared completely hairless. I didn't catch it at first, but after replaying the footage more closely, I noticed 2 large, fly-like wings on its back. The video was abruptly cut during editing, so what happened afterward remains unknown. Cursed spider. This clip showed something pulled straight from a nightmare. A spider completely overtaken by the cordyceps fungus. It had reached the final stage of infection, where the fungus had full control over the spider's movements. The parasite forced the spider to climb as high as possible so it could grow and release its spores into the air. Scientists have studied this disturbing process for years, and cordyceps is infamous for infecting insects and spiders, gradually altering their behavior until the fungus fully spreads. It remains one of the most unsettling natural phenomena known. Actual fairy. A woman from Nishiakura, Japan, claims she captured a real-life fairy while hiking in the woods on October 16, 2025. The winged creature appeared very close to her, and she followed it with her camera until it slipped into a hole at the base of a tree, likely its home or a temporary hiding place from the approaching human, after which it didn't reappear. The woman stayed a short distance away and later managed to film another fairy perched high in a tree. This one didn't seem afraid at all and was seen calmly sitting on a branch with its legs crossed. It had 4 wings, white hair, and a dark gray body. The fairy was small and slender in appearance. Before long, it also flew off, and the woman has since refused to reveal the exact location of this extraordinary encounter. Alien underwater. Recorded in Bahia in Glacia, Chile, a surfer noticed a strange humanoid shape moving beneath the surface of the water. As the footage shows, the figure had a round, orange-colored head and a long, thin black body. It was walking away from the person filming while somehow staying firmly planted on the ocean floor. From this angle, it's clear the figure had 2 arms extending below its waist and 2 normally sized legs that could be seen moving. No matter how close the cameraman got, the creature continued to drift farther away. Once it moved into deeper water, the filmer couldn't follow with his phone and eventually lost sight of the mysterious alien-like figure. Animal form shapeshifter. This footage is so strange it feels impossible to explain. A resident of a small town in China experienced the shock of his life after noticing one of his goats behaving in an unnatural way. Out of nowhere, the goat began walking upright on 2 legs like a human. And disturbingly, it looked as if it had done this before. How could that even happen? Some viewers claimed the animal was possessed, while others suggested it could be a skinwalker. Now it's time for what may be the most shocking, and possibly the most disturbing, creature encounter of the day. Let me know in the comments if you agree after seeing what unfolds in this video. Captured by a trail camera in Austin, Texas, a farmer was forced to rush to his property at 11:43 p.m. to stop one of his animals from becoming prey. A thin, canine-like beast had a sheep clamped in its jaws, and while it looked like the sheep was struggling, it stood no real chance. The creature was so powerful it lifted the entire 300-pound sheep using only its jaws and hind legs. Just as it was about to escape, the farmer's guard dog, a 5-year-old German shepherd named Igor, lunged at it. The two locked into a tense confrontation, but the strange, bony-backed creature somehow disoriented the dog before leaping away in a split second. What happened next defies logic. No known 4-legged canine could lift a full-grown animal, confront a mature guard dog, and then bound away as if it weighed nothing. When the farmer got closer, the creature bolted across the farm and vanished. Thankfully, both the sheep and the dog survived unharmed. Disgusting creature. This strange creature was caught on the side of the road in Montana, USA a few days ago. In the video, the creature can be seen moving in a very weird manner. It looked like a starfish, but its skin was dark with yellow markings on its 7 limbs. The person recording noticed it while she was driving, and as she got close, the creature started moving. The creepiest moment happened when it got up on its 2 limbs and lunged at the woman, revealing its yellowish-green underbelly. It looked horrible up close, and then it ran in the opposite direction before camouflaging itself with a dark, dirty water. Since it happened in Great Falls near Sun River, people believe it was an unidentified aquatic anomaly. Camera-caught creature. In Mumford, Springfield, Missouri, USA, a trail camera captured a predator attempting to steal one of the farmer's sheep. This powerful creature managed to break the lock, but became trapped between the wooden fence as it desperately tried to escape. However, this wasn't just any predator. If you look closely at its face, you'll see a snout resembling that of a wolf, with unusually large and sharp canine teeth. But its face also closely resembled that of a sloth bear. Even more disturbing were its claws, visible as it tried to pry itself free from the fence. Sloth bears are not native to North America, which makes this sighting all the more mysterious.
Yes.
Goblin in the meadow. A video went viral after a bizarre figure was spotted moving through a cornfield. It was filmed in the afternoon on October 31st, 2025, and immediately triggered intense reactions online. The footage shows a small, hunched, fast-moving creature crouched among the corn stalks, seemingly trying to steal part of the harvest like a goblin. According to the person filming, no one should have been in that area of the field at that time, but after noticing movement, he went to check it out. The goblin fled the scene, and although the farmer tried to chase it, he couldn't keep up. What's certain is that the video has already sparked thousands of online reactions and is going viral right now. Mutant of Chernobyl. One day, a man secretly entered the Chernobyl exclusion zone, driven by curiosity about what might be hiding there. That's when he came across this horror. A slick, veined creature slithered along the ground. Clusters of pale, throbbing orbs covered its back, continuously pulsing. It looked like a true biological nightmare, seemingly born from radiation. Giant reptile. This motion-activated security cam footage captured something back in 2021 that is still unexplained. Placed near a park in Delaware, USA, it recorded a massive reptilian creature that came out of the trees. Its head was oddly shaped, and there was a huge hump behind its shoulders. It even had a long reptilian tail. The way it crouched low while running made it seem like it was trying to stay unnoticed, but the camera caught it clearly. After a watchman reviewed the footage later and showed it to authorities, they sealed off the area for a search but couldn't track it down. Strange beach discovery. Beach visitors searching for seashells and driftwood instead stumbled upon something straight out of a nightmare. A huge, rotting mass had washed up on shore. With its exposed tissue and grotesquely warped remains, identifying it was nearly impossible. Its stretched-out body and what appeared to be fins or limbs hinted that it could have once been a dolphin, a seal, or perhaps a large fish. Marine animals often decompose in strange ways, taking on horrifying forms. Over the years, many similar finds have been explained as decayed whales or seals. But what if this one wasn't? No official identification was ever given. Hellhound caught on video. Beach visitors searching for seashells and driftwood instead stumbled upon something straight out of a nightmare. A huge rotting mass had washed up on shore. With its exposed tissue and grotesquely warped remains, identifying it was nearly impossible. Its stretched-out body and what appeared to be fins or limbs hinted that it could have once been a dolphin, a seal, or perhaps a large fish. Marine animals often decompose in strange ways, taking on horrifying forms. Over the years, many similar finds have been explained as decayed whales or seals. But what if this one wasn't? No official identification was ever given. Strange encounter. Captured by a TikTok user named Mr. Chris in an undisclosed area of Utah, the video documents one of the most unsettling encounters on record. Chris was camping when, only a few feet from his tent, he noticed a dark figure staring directly at him. He grabbed his flashlight and phone to get a clearer view. Even then, the shape remained invisible, except for its glowing eyes reflecting back the beam of light. It clearly wasn't human, yet it stood upright with the height and posture of a person. Chris said it couldn't have been a bear because he would have heard movement, but the figure made no sound at all. After several terrifying, tension-filled minutes, the glowing eyes suddenly disappeared. Chris didn't hesitate. He sprinted to his Jeep, abandoning all of his gear behind. Unidentified coastal remains. At sunrise on Priado Casino in Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil, early morning walkers encountered something that left them frozen in place. The tide had carried in an enormous form. It was warped, pale gray, and unlike any marine life they recognized. It wasn't a whale, and it wasn't a shark. It appeared to be something entirely unfamiliar. The body had thick skin and unusual bone structures that didn't match any known species on record. A strong, rotten stench hung in the air, making the discovery even more disturbing. Not long after, fishermen from nearby areas reported spotting similar remains floating offshore, as if parts of the same creature had been scattered along the coastline. Specialists were brought in, but no definitive explanation was ever given.
Answer.
Que bicho será que era isso aqui?
Flowered cryptid. A tourist was sitting on a stone wall in the Kagor Mountains of Scotland when they noticed something unusual crawling across the granite. It was a caterpillar, but nothing like an ordinary one. Its body was covered in soft, white, petal-like forms with small, round red spots resembling tiny berries. It looked almost like a natural mountain ornament, slowly moving over the rock. The tourist watched as it crept along the rough surface, pausing occasionally before slipping over the edge and making its way toward the grass below. The creature was later identified as a rare caterpillar known as Flora pillar alpina, said to feed on flowers that grow high near the clouds. Gelatinous critters. These unsettling crawlers were filmed near Rosemary Beach, Florida, along Highway 98, and they gave viewers instant goosebumps. On the roadside, an enormous mass of centipedes was moving together as one single shape. It looked like a living carpet gliding over the ground. In the footage, thousands of tiny legs moved in perfect synchronization, creating the eerie impression that the entire mass was breathing. It was deeply disturbing to watch, especially because of how slick and fleshy the creatures appeared as they shifted. In reality, this may have been a massive cluster of tubifex worms, small red worms that gather tightly, forming what looks like one giant organism instead of countless tiny ones. Crippled stick figures. The following footage was recorded by a family staying at an Airbnb in Londrina, Brazil. In the disturbing clip, the family, along with the property owner, can be seen emptying bags filled with these unsettling stick-like creatures. There were hundreds, possibly thousands of them scattered across the ground, all long and thin, with multiple sharp limbs protruding from their dark brown bodies. They were identified as stick bugs, but the truly shocking part was where they appeared. The family had rented a cheap 3-room house and were stunned to discover these creepy critters gathered near the windows in 2 of the rooms and along the backyard porch. Before contacting animal control, they documented everything as a precaution. House of Terror. This person might have the worst house on the planet. These tiny gray wriggling crawlers were inside the rods of the backyard shed and were moving in unison, which only made it more creepy. But then, inside the bedroom near the bathroom wall, there were dozens of black spider-like creatures coming down from the ceiling. He quickly moved out from the house he had just bought in Waverly Hills, Louisville, USA. Unknown river entity. A bizarre creature was seen drifting along a river in Monterey Bay, California. At first, no one could tell what they were witnessing. It appeared as a soft brown mass, slowly carried by the current. Its body was smooth and rounded, almost like a folded blanket floating just beneath the surface. Every few moments, its sides rose and pushed against the water, allowing it to glide forward. As it neared the riverbank, observers noticed 2 short, ear-like shapes on its head, and a broad body that spread open like soft wings as it moved. It looked strange, almost unreal, but it turned out to be a sea hare, a type of sea slug found in coastal waters. This one had simply wandered into the river, giving onlookers a rare and startling sight. Mysterious winged creature. Someone noticed a strange little insect sitting on their porch table, and at first glance, it looked exactly like a paper wasp. The same yellow and black stripes, the same narrow waist, the same jittery, nervous movements. But something was off. The insect had long front legs, the kind you normally see on a praying mantis. They were folded inward, poised to grab, like tiny arms waiting for the perfect moment. Its wings were different too, close enough to fool you, but not quite right for a wasp. The more you watched it, the stranger it felt. It moved like a wasp. It looked like a wasp, but it wasn't one. What they were actually seeing was Climacella brunea, commonly known as the wasp mantid fly, an insect that survives by deception. It wears the body of a wasp, but carries the grasping arms of a mantis, making it one of the most unsettling and effective disguises found in nature. Massachusetts wriggler. A plumber was going about his routine work when he suddenly got the shock of his life. A reddish-brown mass began spilling out of the pipe. At first, he assumed it was just built-up grime from dirty dishes. But when he took a closer look, he realized it wasn't residue at all. They were massive worms. Part of the writhing cluster fell onto the floor, while the rest stayed latched inside the pipe. They were far larger than any earthworms he'd ever seen, and it was clear the dark, damp pipe had become their home. It was the kind of sight that could haunt anyone's sleep. So the next time you're dealing with your plumbing, take a moment to check, because you never know what might be lurking inside. Sewer mutation. In this strange clip, a resident of Norman, Oklahoma, USA, recorded a mysterious aquatic creature inside a gutter. When it first emerged from the water, it resembled an eel, though that alone made no sense, since eels don't live in that region. Then it suddenly lunged to the left to snatch something. Its face was unlike any eel ever documented. The shape of its head resembled a dolphin, and the same was true for its flippers, yet its eyes, mouth, and overall facial structure were eel-like. Its body appeared unusually dark, likely stained by the filthy environment it inhabited. After grabbing a few flower petals, it slipped back into the water and swam off. The entire video remains deeply puzzling. So what do you think this was? Because I honestly have no idea. Skinwalker beast. This footage appears to show a skinwalker in the middle of transforming. At first, the person filming believed it was only a stray dog, but on closer inspection, the animal's face was badly distorted. Nothing like a normal canine, but something deeply disturbing. There was no question this was a skinwalker, caught mid-transformation on camera. The most terrifying part of the video is that the person recording never realized the skinwalker was changing into them. Mythic beings. No clear facial features. Unusual ears and tentacle-like appendages hanging beneath the chin. This creature can't possibly be real, right? It was completely white and looked like some kind of hybrid between a goat and an unknown species. In the same way, this bizarre-looking bull also seems far too strange to exist, and that's because it doesn't. Both creations were made by a CGI artist whose goal is to give people nightmares. Cave entity.
All right, it's just, what is that? Oh, no, the ball. Oh, it moved.
For this video, there's something important I need to address. But first, let's go over what was supposedly caught on camera. Inside an unidentified cave somewhere in Australia, a group of teenagers claimed they recorded an incredibly bizarre mutated creature. It appeared to have the body of a jellyfish, colored in shades of purple and blue. Its head looked like a swollen, bulb-like anomaly with two openings on top. But unlike a jellyfish, this thing had 11, yes, 11, legs extending all around its circular body. The teenagers even tossed a beach ball toward it, which the creature quickly grabbed before spraying water from one of its two holes. Now here's the part I want to focus on. Because of the lack of solid information, the creature's unbelievable design, and its unnatural movements, I seriously doubt this footage shows a real encounter. Even though the creature itself is deeply unsettling, mythic river being. This mysterious being was reportedly caught on camera by a fisherman in San Francisco, Brazil, on November 20th, 2025. He was fishing at his usual spot when, to his disbelief, he saw this instead of a catfish. Its body was gray, marked by a distinct cyan stripe running along its spine. It had flippers similar to a seal's, while its head appeared reptilian. Most shocking of all were the odd appendages extending from its neck, matching the color of the stripe on its back. As it swam away, the camera also captured its long, snake-like tail, and there were no fins visible anywhere on its body. The fisherman has returned to that location many times since, but has only seen the creature twice after that initial encounter. Ancient cryptids. These small, puzzling cryptids were filmed inside a 300-year-old oak forest, with several of them captured by a hiker near Oak Alley Plantation in Louisiana, USA, on October 21, 2025. The tiny, alien-like creatures rocked their heads back and forth in an unusual defensive motion that caught the camerawoman Giselle Emily completely off guard. Their heads were covered in wispy white hair like that of an elderly man, while their bodies were pale, hairless, and supported by 6 long legs. They also had 2 thin antennae arched backward over their bodies. Everything about them felt bizarre and mysterious. So if any of you know what these might be, please share your thoughts in the comments and let us know what these creatures could be, or if they're even real at all. Mysterious winged animal. Rare footage managed to capture one of the planet's most elusive creatures inside a cave in the Alborz Mountains of Iran. The figure looked intimidating, and many viewers were shocked, questioning whether it could be an entirely new species. However, experts later identified it as a Eurasian eagle owl, one of the most powerful and secretive owls in existence. These birds are found only in specific regions, favoring rocky mountains and cliffs where they can remain hidden during the day and hunt under cover of night. Places like Iran and other mountainous areas provide the perfect habitat. Eurasian eagle owls typically nest on cliffs, inside caves, or along rocky ledges, keeping themselves protected from predators. Creeping creatures.
Oh my god! Oh! That's cool.
An entire cluster of unsettling crawlers was discovered outside a home in Armadale, Australia on November 16th of this year. At least a dozen of these bizarre creatures were scattered across the front porch, their bodies jet black and covered in white spikes protruding from every direction, almost like tiny porcupines. But it was their faces, and the way they moved, that truly disturbed people online. And since this happened in Australia, many assumed it had to be real. These creatures were later identified as Spitfire caterpillars. They're known for a strange defense behavior. When threatened, they lift their heads and release a foul-smelling, irritating fluid to deter predators. They aren't venomous, but the combination of that repulsive spray and their aggressive posture is usually enough to keep anything away. Deer with twin heads. A viral clip online left viewers completely shocked. A group of men filmed what appeared to be a deer with 2 heads moving through the woods. The animal had a single body, but 2 necks extending upward, with the second neck seeming to emerge slightly lower than the first, making the footage both real and unsettling. Some people argued that camera angles and lighting created an illusion, suggesting it was actually 2 deer lined up perfectly. However, others pointed out that deer have been documented with unusual mutations and abnormal conditions like CWD. Because of that, the idea that this could be a rare and disturbing mutation doesn't seem impossible to them. Soaked hybrid creature. A highly ambiguous and strange clip surfaced on Instagram not long ago, showing a bizarre animal filmed inside a storage room by a New York subway maintenance worker. The footage revealed a wet, dark, rat-like creature that clearly wasn't a normal rodent. Its back feet were webbed like a duck's, but only on the hind legs. The front limbs were spread apart, ending in thin, elongated, claw-like fingers held wide open. Its eyes glowed from the camera flash, and it had whiskers similar to a rat, yet its feet and facial features didn't match any known animal. Online users were quick to label it a rare but disturbing hybrid, something they claimed could only exist in New York.